What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome to Not Your Status Quo. Today, we are going to be breaking down the Eternals trailer that dropped from Marvel Studios.
And we're back in the studio.
Look at this, we're back together. Guys, I got a bit of a cough. I hope you don't mind.
No, I don't mind.
We'll be back to Zoom.
This is why Doug went on that thing a few weeks ago. He went on assignment.
It was a Mephisto hunt.
I was going to say, I thought it was an in-depth survey of Mephisto lovers.
Indeed.
Right. Well, hey, we're here to talk Eternals. We're so happy to be back in the studio. I hope you guys enjoy it, but let's jump right in. In the comics, the Eternals are an evolutionary offshoot of humanity created by a cosmic race of aliens known as the Celestials. You might remember them from Guardians of the Galaxy. And when speaking at San Diego Comic-Con in 2019, actor Kumail Nanjiani discussed the Eternals' origin in a little more detail. We were sent to Earth thousands of years ago to protect Earth from these monsters, the Deviants. He explained, by this point, we've been on Earth for a long time. And that's abundantly clear in the trailer's stunning opening shot, which sees the Eternal ship decloak over a group of fishermen and farmers thousands of years ago. This ship may serve as the Eternals' base of operations, allowing the Eternals to interact with different human civilizations across the planet.
So Keith mentioned the idea that we've seen the Celestials before in Guardians of the Galaxy when we saw Ego in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and we saw the giant head of Nowhere, another Celestial, that was in Guardians of the Galaxy 1. I think that's pretty interesting, and I'm looking forward to seeing if we end up seeing more of them in other movies, if this is going to be kind of a recurring theme. Maybe we'll see him as Guardians of the Galaxy.
And he also named the Deviants, of which everybody's favorite villain,
Thanos?
Thanos, yeah. He's a deviant.
He's part deviant.
I wonder if he'll be in this movie.
Mephisto confirmed.
Yep. And Nightmare's the villain for Avengers 5. You heard it here first. Actually, you heard it a couple weeks ago, but you were here.
Just write it down. You guys are cool.
We're always right, never wrong.
Don't fact check that. The opening song in the Eternals trailer is a great choice, in my opinion, and potentially significant. Skeeter Davis's The End of the World. Fallout feels, anyone?
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking the same thing when I was watching the trailer. My first thought was, oh, this is just like the Fallout ad that came out a couple of years ago. Well, more than a couple of years ago.
Definitely. And it's a sad song written after the end of a romantic relationship. And it's the perfect song choice because it blends the theme of romance, believed to be the center of this film, with Circe and Icarus and Dane Whitman, possible love triangle in this film, and the literal threat of the end of the world.
The end of which world?
All worlds.
Oh, okay. That's definitely a threat.
No, just Earth. Because
okay.
The Celestials come and judge planets.
Oh.
And later on in this thing, I'll talk about where I think that's going to happen. And if they say the planet is unworthy, they destroy the planet.
No kidding.
And we've already seen this in the MCU in Guardians of the Galaxy with the Power Stone. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch that movie.
Or I'll find the clip and put it in here.
Do that.
It'll be easier. But go watch Guardians of the Galaxy again, because it is a great movie. And we all love it. So we see two of the Eternals looking down on Earth, Gemma Chan's Circe and Richard Madden's Icarus, who are set up as the main characters in this first trailer. In the comics, Circe is a member of the Eternals who has traditionally interacted with humanity the most, even becoming a member of the Avengers during the 90s. It's fitting that she falls in love with the Earth the moment she sees the planet, dedicating herself to its defense on an emotional level. Icarus, the leader of the Eternals, they have a lot of leaders, seems rather less impressed.
So does that mean that he's looking to judge Earth for failure then?
Not necessarily. I think he just holds himself above. Like, he sees the people standing there, and he considers himself more of a god to these people, where Circe kind of wants to become one of them and understand them.
I see. All right.
And Angelina Jolie is making her MCU debut as Athena, an Eternal warrior who has often served as a diplomat for the Eternals, helping them find common ground with other cultures and civilizations. The Eternals trailer gives viewers their first look at her in costume, and the design is very complimenting of the flares of circular cosmic energy surrounding her. The introduction of such cosmic energy is important in its own right because the power cosmic sets up the likes of the Fantastic Four and Galactus. Now, I'm not saying Galactus is going to be in this movie.
Galactus confirmed. You heard it here first.
At least for half of the movie.
Fantastic Four also going to be in this movie.
And you know, some of the headgear that they were wearing, it really reminded me of Loki's, helmet with the horns.
That would make sense. Now, I also have to wonder if something that I was thinking about when we were watching this trailer, speaking of Loki, so that's actually a good little segue. I was wondering, now, the Asgardians, they seemed very familiar with Earth, and they are also treated as gods among, the Scandinavian people on Earth. So I wonder if they ever encountered the Eternals, or rather the Celestials, if they ever, interacted with Icarus or with Circe, or if any of them, or, where do they lie in that hierarchy as well, since they can, they consider themselves gods, or at least Loki did. Are they also somewhat Celestials, partial Celestials?
I think
How do
this
the
is
Asgardians work in
they
that?
have an average lifespan of 5,000 years.
Yeah?
From Asgard, and that's Thor had been alive for 1,500 years during Endgame. So I mean, compared to the Celestials, they're just babies.
I see.
Yeah, I think Celestials are like the high power end of the universe, at least the MCU, which Galactus kind of fits in, and then, the gods of Asgardians. And Zeus has been confirmed for Thor, Love and Thunder, so we're going to get the Greek gods here soon. And they are all like a step below the Celestials, I believe.
Interesting.
And as we know, cosmic microwave background radiation, defined as a relic radiation dating back to the Big Ben, was also referenced in WandaVision. Mm-hmm. So it all ties together.
And that being where Wanda gets her powers from, and it makes her
Infinity Stones. It's all Infinity Stones.
Yeah,
I'm not wrong.
Rehashing the whole saga. Wanda being an apex being that can exist on many different realities.
No, absolutely. I mean, it definitely all ties in. And that radiation ties into the Infinity Stones. And as Doug has often said, almost all of the powers of the MCU are derived from the Infinity Stones. And
At
it
least
looks
some
like
way or another, yeah.
And it looks like their powers are going to be connected in some way. So we know the Infinity Stones came about with the Big Bang from Avengers Infinity War, as did the Celestials. So it's all going to tie together. And now the trailer moves on to introducing Salma Hayek's character, Ajax, who has been gender swapped from the comics. Ajax is believed to serve as the Eternals' spiritual leader, as I've said, lots of leaders. And according to leaked Eternals merchandise, her wisdom has guided the team from their arrival on Earth to the present day. She possesses the power of physical healing, which she can use to heal humans and Eternals alike. The merchandise also said she could communicate with Celestials. She is the only one who can.
Really? That's interesting.
So that is definitely going to be interesting to see how that all plays
Now, when you
out.
say merchandise, does this mean like...
Toys.
Toys. Awesome. So there's going to be a Salma Hayek action figure?
There will be, yes. Ajax.
Excellent. Wonderful. Okay, well, I have to make a run real quick, you guys.
They're not out yet. But pick up two, please.
Okay.
And Mantis, she also can communicate with Celestials.
In the comics, yes. I don't know if that's been confirmed for the MCU. Because
she's-
Ego communicated with everybody. He allowed it.
Yeah, if he was in his celestial form, then they probably wouldn't be able to communicate with him.
Very possibly, yes. Next up is Fastos, the Eternals inventor, played by Brian Tyree Henry. His character has operated from the shadows, and he has secretly helped humanity develop technology. The trailer shows him manipulating cosmic energy in an unknown way, and it's unclear precisely what he's attempting to do. The flares of cosmic energy are amazing looking, and we get a lot of it in this trailer. The trailer features both a voiceover and a number of scenes explaining just what role the Eternals have played in the development of human civilization. They have presented themselves as passive observers, but for all their claims, in truth, they serve to direct humanity by helping people progress as a culture. True to the comics, Circe appears to have interacted with humanity to a greater degree than other Eternals. One shot shows her using her power of matter transmutation to create water, effectively irrigating a desert environment. It's easy to see why the Eternals are worshipped as gods. There is most definitely a sense of the divine about Circe's demonstration of benevolent power. She's later shown interacting with a human family, getting her head patted by a girl.
So what you're saying, Keith, is humans didn't invent any of the marvels of the world. It was aliens.
That is exactly what I'm saying.
Fisto!
And Mephisto, yes.
Yeah, of course.
I found that out in my investigation. Confirmed. Doubly.
That's
triply.
what you brought back from your trip.
That is what I brought
yeah.
back from my trip.
Right on.
Yeah.
Confirmed for Doctor Strange?
Absolutely. And
Awesome.
the Eternals. And also, it's been retroactively confirmed for WandaVision. You just missed it. Yeah,
Loki?
Yeah, that too.
Awesome. We're
Gonna
going to
be
get
in
a
all
ton
of
of
them.
Mephisto.
Absolutely.
He just wasn't in Captain America.
Oh, no, he was there too.
Soldier. Oh, he was?
Yeah, see, there was this one scene when they were in the boat, and you missed it.
Oh, that was him?
Yeah, that was
I saw a dark figure in the background.
Yep,
He was,
exactly.
brushing his
There
teeth
you
or something.
go.
He's the one who teeped with the engine to kind of
There,
get
yep,
off. Yeah.
you got it. See,
See?
Keith saw it.
He's luring you in by being nice, and you be a friend, and then he's gonna just chomp down.
Yeah.
Hey, let's make a deal.
Yeah. He's gonna make a deal with him. I'll fix your boat. You go to hell.
Yeah. That's a win-win.
Yeah. That's how he does it.
Depends on who's going to hell. Okay, Athena is able to reshape cosmic energy in order to create any weapon she can imagine. Her favorite weapon in the comics is a staff. So it's safe to assume the trailer shows her wielding the MCU version of that, which she has forged using her powers. And in the background, we see a soldier holding a round shield with a star in the middle of it. Sound familiar, anybody?
I wonder what that could be.
But we will get to more of that later. The Eternals are shown at the gates of Babylon, with the voiceover hinting that they may well have been linked to all 7 of the ancient wonders of the world. Babylon is a key location in Eternals lore in the comics because it was there Athena began her long and controversial romance with the deviant warlord Crow, who also has been confirmed to be in this movie via toys. What's more, the eternal Gilgamesh is tied to Babylon as well. While one comic book story saw a time-traveling Captain America team up with Gilgamesh in order to defend Babylon from an alien army. It's interesting to note that the shots in Babylon seem to suggest the Eternals have revealed themselves to the people of the city, in marked contrast with the voiceover claiming they never interfered, just guide. The trailer moves on to show Makari, the fastest woman in the universe, and the MCU's first deaf superhero. Makari is seen here in the Eternals ship, flipping through books at super speed. Clearly, the Eternals have collected items from every civilization they've interacted with, and it's interesting to note medieval British armor, shown here, perhaps a first hint of the connection with Camelot and the Black Knight. We also get a shot of her saving a kid with her super speed later on in the trailer. Eternals may span thousands of years, but the trailer stresses that the bulk of the action takes place in the present day. Circe is shown walking through ancient Babylon, and then in the present, interestingly, she seems more than a little confused, and she's also wearing the same clothes. It's possible some of the Eternals have been absorbed into human civilization, forgetting who they really are, and that they learned the truth through a number of visions. That particular idea would be lifted from Neil Gaiman's run on the Eternals, and would explain why the Eternals didn't help against Thanos.
Yep, that was my next question. Where were they for Thanos?
Mm-hmm. Oh, they got snapped.
Oh, yeah? That's a powerful snap, dude. To get them, too. That's crazy.
Just half. It didn't care who it was. Rich, poor,
Celestial,
perfect,
eternal.
balance.
Perfectly balanced.
So, Peter didn't have to kill his dad. He could just wait for Thanos to do the snap and kill Ego like that.
There you go.
Then he wouldn't have all these emotional scars.
The trailer shows what appears to be another shot from the past, the fall of Babylon. It's a brutal moment, and it serves to remind us that for all the Eternals have inspired human progress, they have stood by and watched many tragedies over that time. That in itself raises the disturbing question of just why they have chosen to step out of the shadows now. Whatever threat humanity is facing must be a horror on a far greater scale than any we have seen before. Like we said earlier, perhaps the Celestials coming to judge Earth.
That could be the only thing I would think it would be over Thanos snapping away half the universe.
Yeah.
If they don't come out for Thanos, they got to come out for Judgment.
Well, and you got to think, maybe they didn't feel like snapping away half the universe was really the end of the universe. I mean, they maybe thought the same thing.
Oh,
Yeah, this will help people. There'll be enough supplies for everybody.
But this will only take away our planet. This will be only Earth.
It would have been funny if they would have had the same thought process. Like, hey, Thanos is right. He was onto something.
Look at all these people starving.
Ultron. Ultron was right. You know?
I don't think they'll agree with Ultron.
don't know.
Because he wanted to wipe out all of humanity.
Yeah. Well, he was still trying to put that protective shield on the Earth.
I mean, what's a little genocide, right?
Right. Yeah, the entire human race. No big deal.
Then the trailer gives us a shot of Sprite. And this Eternal is permanently trapped in the form of a child. Something that in the
thought you were talking about the refreshing soda.
No.
This episode is sponsored by Sprite. Thank you very much. Anyway, drink Sprite. Continue.
And in the comics, she ultimately came to resent this fact, and traditionally is one of the most dangerous Eternals, infinitely more malevolent than her kin. Sprite once robbed all the Eternals of their memories as part of a mad plan to avenge herself upon the beings who trapped her in this child's body, which we could see her as the enemy or the villain at the end of this movie. But I do still think it's the Celestials.
And also not to be confused with the very delicious, refreshing soda sponsored by Sprite.
There's a soda sponsored by Sprite?
No, this video is
Sprite.
sponsored by Sprite.
Hey, it's good to see you in person, man.
Then the trailer reveals Druid. He has retreated from the rest of the Eternals because he disagrees with the extent of their influence on humanity. Druid possesses the power to manipulate the minds of others, and the trailer teases that he may well have become some sort of cult leader. And we even see these people's eyes like glowing, like they're under some mind control later in the trailer. It's possible that he doesn't disagree so much with the idea of influencing the human race, but maybe just the directions that the Eternals have pursued. Individually, the Eternals are extremely powerful, but their greatest ability is to unite their minds into a single consciousness, a so-called unimind. Infinitely greater than any one of the Eternals trailer shows a brief glimpse of the heroes combining their powers in what may be the MCU's version of the ritual to create the unimind. It will be interesting to see whether the MCU follows Jack Kirby's original idea, in which only the Prime Eternal could initiate a unimind, or whether it follows more recent stories where any Eternals can bond together, but the unimind increases his power as others are added. The latter would be, in my opinion, the smart approach, because it would allow Eternals to set up the idea of Eternals combining their powers ahead of a dramatic shot.
I mean, kind of sounds a little like Voltron or Power Rangers, but okay.
Well, remember, they were created in the 60s, well ahead of them. So yes, it does sound like they were ripped off by Voltron and the Power Rangers.
Or the Kree intelligence.
Ooh.
You know, I think it's all the Kree that die go to the intelligence. So.
Mm-hmm. They do,
Right.
Yep. Hive mind, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Even the Transformers with their Decepticons.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. It's all stolen from Jack Kirby
Absolutely.
and the Eternals.
Boom.
And the standout moment in the first Eternals footage that we saw a couple weeks ago was the shot of Athena wielding a shimmering golden blade. And we see this shot again in the trailer, which makes sense given the strength of the people's reaction to it. It's unclear when this event takes place. Some set photos have suggested Athena will somehow be tied to medieval England, perhaps meaning she's been woven into the sword and sorcery adventures that led to the creation of the ebony blade.
Wonder Woman, DC, Marvel crossover confirmed.
Especially with Disney buying DC.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's coming. Gal Gadot, Angelina Jolie, Athena, and Wonder Woman. It's going to be the team-up movie of the century. The movie has been described as the MCU's first romance, and the trailer focuses on the love between Icarus and Circe. And although the love between these two Eternals may have burned for centuries, it may well be doomed. In the comics, Circe winds up becoming the lover of the Black Knight, and set photos have shown Gemma Chan's Circe and Kit Harington's Black Knight together. So we could get that love triangle I talked about earlier between Jon Snow, Robb Stark, and Dr. Minerva.
You remember, she's been to Earth once before, and it's a mud hole.
Right, exactly.
And then we see Kingo, who has come to enjoy a life of celebrity and fame in the present day as a Bollywood star. In December 2019, lucky attendees of Brazil's CCXP got to see some first look footage of the film, which featured an actual Bollywood sequence. The Eternals trailer includes a couple of brief shots of this scene, with Najani in full Bollywood garb. We see Kingo later sliding along the ground, attacking an enemy above. Could that be Ro? Kind of look like him. You guys have shown it here. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. One of the most intriguing shots shows a volcanic eruption, which may be tied to the legend of Atlantis. In the comics, the ancient war between the Eternals and the Deviants came to a climax 10,000 years ago on the continent of Lemuria, which was ruled over by the advanced race known as the Atlanteans. The king of Atlantis turned the city's magma pits into a weapon to be used against the invading Deviants, but unwittingly triggered a devastating earthquake. This coincided with a deviant attack upon the Celestials themselves, and the entire continent of Lemuria sank beneath the waves. Only a few Atlanteans survived in cities protected by great domes, and they were transformed by the blessing of the gods into an aquatic race. There have already been signs of Atlantis' existence in the MCU. Iron Man 2 featured a shield hotspot in the Atlantic Ocean. Mm-hmm. And Avengers Endgame referenced a submarine earthquake that could be linked to the Atlanteans. It would be kind of fantastic to see the Eternals kind of expand upon that.
Along with Namor to come out of there too.
Oh, that would be awesome if they were, that's what they used to get him into the overall MCU, because they did say that eventually there was going to be either a Namor show or a movie, right?
They have been rumors that Namor is going to show up in Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
Okay.
Because they're natural enemies.
At war with Wakanda. So that would be very interesting to see, especially if they kept casting Namor under wraps, and that's kind of in Eternals leading into Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. That would be fantastic.
Well, the MCU is really good about doing that. You know how they are with their trailers, even putting in fake images just to trick people, so that way they're surprised when they do see the movie.
And they're getting better with the leaks too. I mean, Tom Holland's not in this movie.
That's all they have to do.
Or Mark Ruffalo,
yeah.
They just have to keep them away from set.
Yeah. As long as they're not there, we're never going to know what's going on.
Right. Hey, who's that in the black costume in the corner? I'm Night Monkey.
And here's what happens in the third act. Then we see a brief shot of Sprite on a plane, and it looks like she's singing karaoke. It may seem bizarre at first, but notice the K logo on the door. That suggests this is the private plane of Kingo, the Eternals Bollywood star. If that's the case, it's interesting to note that Kingo has what appears to be Captain America's first shield behind the bar. Although it's impossible to say whether it's an original or a replica, this may point to a connection between the Eternals and Captain America, implying they've been more active in recent history than anyone thought. Disturbingly, Sprite appears to be performing in front of dead bodies, suggesting she's just been on a rampage. It is possible that, just as in Neil Gaiman's Run, Sprite is the real villain of the film.
Unlike the sponsor of today's video, Sprite, a very refreshing soda.
I would say it's the most refreshing soda.
It really is.
And not just because they're paying us, it really is refreshing.
It is the best soda.
And they're not paying us.
Call us Sprite.
Please. The trailer shows a brief blink and you'll miss it glimpse of Kit Harington's Black Knight standing alongside Cersei. In the comics, Dane Whitman is a scientist who was swept up into a world of sword and sorcery adventures when he inherited the cursed ebony blade, a weapon that dates back to the time of King Arthur in Camelot. The Black Knight's role in Eternals is still unclear, and his first trailer is focused on setting up the ancient aliens rather than the Black Knight himself. Now we see a storm brewing in the skies, and this kind of effect is traditionally associated with the arrival of the Celestials themselves in the comic, who have returned to Earth on numerous occasions in the comics to judge humanity. The Celestials are believed to be extinct in the MCU, with Ego the last of his kind in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. But it's possible that belief is incorrect, and that the Celestials have come to Earth. This would well be the cosmic event that forces the Eternals out of hiding, because they know the entire world could potentially be destroyed if the Celestials find humanity wanting.
Or I think what Keith is really trying to say is, this means that the X-Men have been confirmed. They're going to be in this movie. That was Storm, Aurora Monroe, creating this cosmic event, obviously. That's what you meant, right?
Yes, that makes the most sense. It's always the easiest answer.
Absolutely.
We learned during WandaVision to not think too deeply about it.
Oh, no.
Talking about the devil in the details and big red gum and all that wasn't Mephisto. So obviously the Storm is...
It's Storm.
Yeah.
I don't know where I heard it, one of our other esteemed channels, but they had spoken, maybe it was Screen Crush, Cred, but they said this would be is a good spot for the mutants to be born and created by the Eternals. So,
I can see that.
and you mentioning it just now, maybe we're starting to snowball rolling downhill.
Got to get that ball rolling. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
Well, and speaking of Screen Crush, the next scene is Dave's mom. And it looks as though the Eternals put their differences behind them in order to stand against this mysterious threat. Because we see in the trailer them all standing united, including Druid, all wearing their traditional costumes. And this is the first time we've seen those very Kirby-esque costumes, and it looked fantastic. The Eternal trailer ends on a lighter note, with the Eternals discussing who will lead the Avengers now that Iron Man and Captain Rogers are gone. I thought that was very interesting. She called him Captain Rogers.
Well, I think that was obviously implying that the term Captain America has been passed on to somebody else. That's probably why she didn't say Captain America is gone, but Captain Rogers.
My thought on that is this was supposed to come out before Falcon and the Winter Soldier series was supposed to air on Disney Plus.
I think
So
it
maybe
fits
something's
either
out of
way,
order.
you know?
You do?
Oh, yeah, I do. I think it fits either way, because if you say Captain Rogers is gone, that implies that, he, as Captain America, is gone. And it's still, it leaves him. So if it would have come out prior to Falcon and the Winter Soldier, then that's still saying that Captain Rogers is gone.
Yeah, because that doesn't mean that
Yeah.
he doesn't automatically step into the role of leader of the Avengers.
Exactly.
He's just Captain America.
Yes. This goes back to what I was saying when we were doing all of our What's Next videos for the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I said that anybody could probably, I don't recommend it, but anybody could probably skip the series, watch all of the movies, and not miss anything. And I think this goes to prove that fact.
Or, I think it's a trailer trick. I don't think this scene is in the movie. I think they used it to kind of bring together people who don't know who the Eternals are, because I think there's a lot of people out there that have never read an Eternals comic or really know who any of these characters are. And this is a way to bridge the gap to the MCU. Hey, they mentioned two of the most famous, characters in the MCU, Iron Man and Captain America. I'm sorry, Captain Rogers. So I don't think we're going to see this scene in the movie. I think it was just put in for the trailer to make it more widely acceptable by people.
Like one of those deleted scenes that they put in just for the trailer?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's smart.
And while this is pitched as nothing more than a moment of levity, it's actually crucial in reminding viewers that this film is part of the same shared universe, just like I just said. It's like I wrote this. And it definitely positions Eternals in the MCU timeline. It's interesting to note that Eternals refers to Captain America as Captain Rogers, once again perhaps indicating a past connection to the Star-Spangled Man with a Plan. Perhaps they even crossed paths briefly during World War II. Now,
That
personally,
could very well be. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, they kind of just stand around and watch things take place. They could have interacted with him.
yeah, there's a lot of his time during World War II we don't know. Could have happened. And personally, I really enjoyed this trailer. It really showed almost nothing of this movie. It kind of introduced us to the characters. We saw them. We saw some absolutely beautiful landscapes in the movie. Some nice music, but really nothing else. We really don't know who the main villain's going to be, and they really left all of the action out of this. There was no action sequences, so they are doing their best to make movie night, at the theater with not your status quo. We're not going to know what's going on. It's going to be interesting to do a theory palooza about this because we don't have much information. We have stuff we can pull from the comics, but so little was revealed here. Whether we're going to see, Dane Whitman become the Black Knight here, or if they're just going to introduce the character, and really, what brings them out of hiding.
Also, how many eras do you think they're going to try to fit into this movie?
They said
it's an average, 2.5 hour movie.
Yeah, they said it's spanning thousands of years.
And whatever they do, it'll be a lot better than Wonder Woman 1984, which made no references to 1984 in their movie.
Do you really want to get me going again?
Yeah. Let's. We got a whole other video that Doug's gonna just go nuts.
It better be better than Wonder Woman 1984, because if it's worse, there's going to be a lot of angry people.
Well, what this trailer did for me, like you said, it didn't reveal that much about what the movie is. It made me want to go and watch videos like this, which you're obviously doing,
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It made me want to go learn more about the characters. So what we're going to do, we're going to do some in focus on these characters so that you can get to know them before the movie comes out.
Absolutely. So I kind of see this. I was looking at the trailer, and yeah, I kind of agree. They didn't really show us a whole lot, and I think that was on purpose. I think that's because they, want to allow you to experience it in the entirety of the film, get to know these characters, at least the MCU version of them, because as we know, that's what the MCU does. They sometimes will switch around the characters to better fit into their larger universe, right? So what I have a feeling they're going to end up doing is much like the Guardians of the Galaxy, which I knew almost nothing about going into when I first saw that movie. I think they're going to take these characters, like they have already with Iron Man before, and they're going to put them to the forefront. They're going to make them a very popular movie. It's going to have a couple of, laughs in there. It's probably going to have its serious moments, some romance mixed in there. It's probably going to have a good deal of action too. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the movie at the moment, even though the trailer didn't give us that much.
That's what we think. That's what we saw. Did we miss anything? Let us know in the comments below, and we will see you next time at Not Your Status Quo.